Hey guys, I am Ibigandscary. I'm bringing you another StarCraft 2 replay. This time it is Game 3 featuring Darius Todes, who is our blue Zerg in the top right hand side, and his opponent from DShark's Joce. Joce is our purple Terran in the bottom left. It's Zerg versus Terran, just like the first two matches. It was incredible. Good luck, have fun, even though both players have successfully lost one map to the other one. Both of the two different games were incredibly tight, very, very fun. Very nice games, very, very nice games coming up from Todes. And I agree 100%. Really showing you the strengths and weaknesses of the respective play style from both players. Joce is very greedy. He likes to throw down a lot of CCs early on, take a bit of a risk, be behind on everything except for tech, and then just kind of explode in the mid to late game. Really aggressively pushing out with a very nice composition. But that leaves him kind of vulnerable to early aggression, which is what we saw in Game 2. Game 1, Joce got the upper hand, kept it for forever, and Todes unfortunately had to kind of engage in a lot of narrow chokes, and because of that, he kind of suffered because of it. However, in Game 2, Todes had a very wide open map and could invest in the units that kind of abused that. He had Ultrasks, he had Banelings, he had Zerglings, and because of that, he took a lot of clutch engagements and just kind of crushed Joce in the mid to late game. Even though Joce arrived there with the tech he wanted, he just never had the economy to successfully fuel his engagements with Todes. He was just engaging in a cost-effective manner, but not nearly as cost-effective enough to keep him in the game. Todes is throwing down his 15 hatch just like the first time. He's probably going to be throwing down a spawning pool any second now as he's approaching that 200 mineral mark, and there goes. Excellent. We also see the barracks thrown down, the drone being kind of frisky, just poking out there. No CC on the low ground just yet, but with almost 300 minerals, we can expect that Joce is going to be throwing it down in just a couple of seconds. Oh, yeah, that would make sense. I mean, Joce is very passive in his matchup. He likes to throw down CCs on the low ground. He likes to throw down a third CC up in his main base. He's very passive, and so a proxy would have been devastating just because Todes has thrown down a hatchery on the low ground every single time before pool, and if he was dealing with a two racks proxy, he definitely would have at minimum gotten the cancel on that hatchery, probably done substantial damage one way or another. And so Todes was just letting that know that, he defensively positioned his Overlord instead. He has it over here by his natural, rather than making its way down over here so they can actually scout out the timing for the third and maybe suicide that in later on, while keeping this one alive so that he can actually scout the gas later. 6 in one hand, half dozen in the other, not the biggest thing in the world. Both players are progressing down the tech trees that we've seen in the previous two games. We see double queen coming out from the hatchery. No super early gas from Todes, so probably not going to be a Baneling bust, but still just slightly too early to say. He needs to work on his harvester count. He needs to work on his saturation before he really makes motions of being super aggressive, especially with just those two queens coming out. Oh, no, he's back to the 4-queen opening, which is what we saw in the first game. Second game, of course, we saw those roaches early on, a lot of early aggression, and that worked out very well for him. However, this map is different than the other two. It's kind of an amalgam between the two of them, actually. You've got narrow gaps, you've got narrow little chokes that you can actually use to your advantage if you are Joce, but then Todes also has a lot of wide open areas that he can actually use to get those surrounds. So both players are going to have a little bit of an advantage on this matchup. I think the advantage is more in Todes' favor just because Joce is going to have to choose between one of these terrible thirds to take, because he needs at least a 3-base economy before he's aggressive. That's the build that he's used so far. That being said, both of these thirds are so freaking exposed, and the second he decides to move out, Todes is going to know that he basically gets a free base. Yeah, there's a third command center going up on the high ground, but this factory is going to be using these reactors. He's going to get some Hellions out there, but I just do not see how Joce can take the map control so far away from Todes that Todes is not going to be able to aggressively punish Joce for actually taking that third. We can see that Todes is taking down his own third, and Joce is going to have some Hellions on the field to maybe do a run by, but with 4 queens out, he's going to have 2 of them at this third, and he's going to have no problem repelling them, or at least that's what I suspect. That being said, Joce is going to be pretty much impenetrable on just these 2 bases, so will that change up the build order that Joce decides to go down? He's still working on that heavy bio build. He's gotten some Widow Mines out, actually, instead of those Hellions, which is cool because I didn't notice it until they were completely done being built, which is awesome because I was expecting Hellions and I'm terrible. Widowmines are a great decision, though. I mean, like I said, very defensive in nature, and it's really going to help Joce take and secure that third as he proceeds down that kind of defensive stance. Third is going to go pretty much finish completely unaccosted without those Hellions out on the field. There's really nothing Joce can do in order to punish that. We also have the double Evo chambers coming up, kind of incorporating themselves into that wall, and with those 4 queens out, really those Hellions have no chance at all doing any damage if they were to even be built. I mean, 2 more Widowmines. Again, I like this. I like this change because I think Joce knows that he's going to have to invest a little bit extra into being defensive, and he's going to have to try a little bit harder to stay alive on this map so that he can actually arrive at that mid to late game timing and actually use his tech to its fullest, which is when he's really the most powerful. Lair going up, Baneling Nest going up, 1-1 started for Todes, 1-1 also more than halfway done pretty much for Joce, but he's also getting stem. He's probably got some Medivacs out on the field already. Where is that starport? No, not even a single starport yet. Wow, I would expect it to at least be started by now, so they can get out those Medivacs, actually start on the drop tech. But electing again to try for those double Evo chambers, I guess that's eating up a lot of gas. Armory also. So I mean, it's understandable that it's not out yet, but I'm just surprised how incredibly shy Joce is being right now. He's being very timid is the word I would actually use. He's timid because he's not pushing out and harassing like I would expect from Terran. I mean, he knows he's going to be up against a triple based Zerg. Even with so many queens out, those Widowmines can be dropped behind any of these mineral wheels and guaranteed at least 1 kill. I mean, they definitely do quite a lot of damage. Not as devastating as you would come to expect with those Hellbats, but still very, very powerful. And I feel like Joce is lacking that in his playstyle. Like, it's such an incredibly powerful and potent tool that Terran has, and he's not using it. That being said, Joce is a monster and is having no issues going toe-to-toe with Todes. I mean, the first game, he took it, you know, not even a landslide, but very, very, very convincingly he took that first game. And then the second game, he crawled his way back from a very early deficit. Very impressive on both games, actually, and he's going toe-to-toe with Todes, even though he's not using those drop plays. So what do I know? I mean, this guy's playing the game like he wants to play it, and I totally respect that. He's just very, very impressive player. And I know I mentioned in the first one, but maybe you're weird and you only watched the last game in a best of 3 or something like that. But both players are in very high EU Masters, which means that any given day they could probably be in Grand Masters, push come to shove. Very high skill level. I believe Todes has been in Grand Masters at least on 1 occasion before this. Don't quote me on that one. I believe, and so I mean we are seeing Grandmaster level play. This is definitely very clutch, and this is what I'm talking about right here. 9 Mutalisks being created. Mentioned it before. 90 hit points for a Widowmine. That's enough Mutalisk. Oh, speaking of Widowmines, all those Zerglings just get absolutely crushed. There goes the whole position micro to take out a handful of those SCVs, not really paying for the just plethora of Zerglings that got crushed by that 1 Widowmine strike, but still 4 workers killed, harassing that third. And that's what I'm talking about, those Widowmines just adding a little bit of extra defense. And Joce being very defensible with those Widowmines, making this whole area pretty much unassailable. Very intimidating. What was I saying? Todes Grandmaster, and this is why. 9 Mutalisks, 90 hit points for the Widowmines. That means 1 volley from these Mutalisks can take down a Widowmine before the Widowmine actually activates. It's really, really cool. You pair it up with an Overseer, and you can kind of snipe those Widowmines with units that are pretty much designed to die from Widowmines very, very quickly. Mutalisks actually pushing in here, also designed to die very, very quickly from those Marines, and it looks like that little poke was enough to send Joce back just a little bit, back to his natural, buy a little bit of extra time for Todes to start. 24 Banelings up on his creep. Look at this monstrous creep spread. He's probably got half the map totally covered. There goes a nice scan. Remember, Joce was overextending himself just a little bit in the first game onto that creep, and right now he's showing Todes just a little bit more extra respect, making it so these guys don't push too far onto the creep. But what is this? Half of his Marines get caught with their pants down, but so many Widowmines. just blowing the crap out of all those banelings, but only 2 of the Widow Mines survived because one of them blew up those banelings on top of themselves, and that in turn killed pretty much all those Widow Mines. Otherwise, this was going to come out incredibly in Joce's favor. All things considered, now resources lost not really telling the whole story, but I think Todes is going to hold this off with minimal damage, if any, to his economy. And yeah, with the Mutalisks swimming in, all those Mutalisks have to be so very careful. Oh my goodness, they're right on top of a Widow Mine, just now connecting. 3 of them go down. I think we only had 6 left. Yes, it's exactly 6 left, which is bad because now he doesn't have those Mutalisks to keep those Widow Mines in check. However, all of this was a stopgap. All of this was just so Todes could get out those Ultralisks. Like I said, this map has wide open areas. Look at this bank. Todes is ready for that Ultralisk Cavern. Ultralisk Cavern has been started. Adrenal Glands has been started. 2-2 is done. 3-3 not quite out on the way. But it's because those Ultralisks are coming out so very, very fast that Todes just, quite frankly, hasn't had time to start those yet. There you go. 3-3 starting. 2-2 just now finishing for Joce. So he's got a very intimidating army, but the time bomb is ticking. That Ultralisk Cavern is pretty much done. Now, immediately starting up on that chitinous plating. And so really just Todes has to hold on, not lose another base. He has lost his fifth. And the 4th has been secured in the bottom right-hand side. Not quite done yet. Only about halfway done. A little bit of a cat-and-mouse game going on right now, but I think Joce is going to have to sit back, kind of relax, take his 4th. I don't feel like he can be too much more. There's not much more he can do. He's only got Marines and Widow Mines out now. 62 Zerglings are being made. Not a lot of Banelings, but that's okay because if these Zerglings wanted to, they could push in there and just crush every single one of these Marines. Really, the hidden threat of those Widow Mines is what's keeping him in check. And does he have any Overseers at all? Yeah, he's got 1. That's weird. Todes would probably want to have more Overseers, but he's got 1 with his main force. So really, what is he losing? There's no way that the Marines are going to sacrifice DPS on that Overseer just because it's there. Oh, the poor Overlord's going to get crushed. Oh no, Widow Mines aggressively positioning themselves forward, but a bit of a run by with those Zerglings down to the south side. Maybe he was afraid of a flanking maneuver, or maybe he wants to set up his own flanking maneuver. Oof. Big strike on that. I believe that was a Mutalisk. Yeah, only 2 Mutalisks left. Now here comes the push from Todes, but really it's just to buy him more time for those Ultralisks. 3-3, more than halfway done. Chitinous plating has did it finish or did it go down? Oh yeah, it finished. Okay, cool. Chitinous plating has finished. 3-4 Ultralisks on the way. Todes is going to have a very intimidating force in just a couple of seconds, and he's already got quite a lot of Zerglings, which is really going to support those Ultralisks when they come out. Planetary Fortress has been secured at the 4th, and Joce is looking good economically speaking. Look at that, 72 Harvesters. There's so many SCVs. Does he need that many SCVs? I mean, he can rely a lot on orbital commands, but that is a lot of supply considering that Joce is at 180. He only got 100 in the supply count. It's definitely a... oh man, that Baneling feeling frisky, getting off a good hit. Oh no, not even a good hit. It was just 1 SCV. I wonder what was up with that. Well, regardless, Joce has a very intimidating force right here. A little bit of a strike force, but Todes has not elected to rebuild hatchery up there, contenting himself on just the 3-base economy. His natural still going strong. Wow, even his main still going strong. Just because I guess the saturation there is not a top drawer, just kind of spreading out that. 3-3 finishing now. 3 more Ultralisks. I think he's got 4 out on the field. Yeah, 4 out on the field right now. Todes is really just waiting for Joce to overextend himself so he can actually crush the strike force that's making its way up to the north. 1 making its way down to the south gets cleaned up by pure Zerglings. Remember, these Zerglings have the adrenal upgrade. They attack so very, very quickly, can really just shred everything. Joce, he can't take a direct engagement with those Ultralisks. He needs to keep doing those prong attacks that he's doing and not get discouraged just because one of them gets cut off. Some drop play would be absolutely phenomenal. Like I said, that's the one missing key right now that I don't see out of Joce, and he cannot take this force in a direct engagement. Look at that. That's just a sick number of Banelings. But even the Ultralisks alone on creep would shred this. That being said, Joce has an incredibly mobile force, and he's got a target-rich environment. He can snipe hatcheries. He can snipe tech. Look at this tech. 2 drops, 2 medevacs filled with Marines and Marauders could absolutely crush everything here. And if he did it down to the south side, he'd be able to clean up pretty much all of that. Meanwhile, Todes deciding to actually push back against Joce's aggressive posturing. He did not go for the cancel on the hatchery down to the south side of this, despite knowing it was there. Wow, look at how quickly those Ultralisks got shredded by those Marines. My goodness, what upgrade all those Marines on? Are they 3-3? They are 3-3 right now. Wow. But enough Banelings remained to actually clean them up. Only a handful of Zerglings are left, and wow, where did all the Ultralisks go? Did they just... Oh, they're just hanging out up here. I guess they didn't go with them, or oh, okay. So what Todes did was sacrifice the Zerglings to actually free up supply, which is cool in theory because Ultralisks are better. They're tier 3 units, but Ultralisks do their best work whenever they have Zerglings with them to flank and corral the enemy. And you need a specific number of Zerglings. You need like 2 pages of Zerglings for any large force of Ultralisks. I think he might be relying on these infestors to actually do the corralling for him, and also I think Joce is going to be relying on positioning, clever positioning from him, as well as a little bit of SimCity to make it so that the Ultralisks can't directly engage and use their Kaiser Blades to the maximum of potential. Greater Spire also coming out. It looks like Joce has settled on his composition. He's using a hell of a lot of Marauders so that he can actually deal with those Ultralisks, and then the AoE is going to be coming out from those Widow Mines. Look to those Widow Mines to score some massive hits. He cannot take direct shots from those Banelings. Here comes the Ultralisk trundling in. They should not care less about all of those Widow Mines. Oh my goodness. So many Ultralisks just doing so much damage. Great splitting from Joce. Definitely being very cost effective here. We don't see a lot of major fungals because frankly there's not a lot of units to fungal. They were so spread out so very, very well. However, Todes does come out on top with a plethora of just beautiful Ultralisks. A lot of them in the deep, deep red. But Joce definitely has the infrastructure remaining to actually produce enough units to eventually fight this off. But how much damage is Todes going to be doing to the infrastructure here? Can he take down this base? This is a healthy chunk of the economy from Joce, and he does, and Todes is already remaxed. Both players with a massive bank. Todes does not have a lot of extra gas, which is very weird. I guess he just built 9 Ultralisks. That does cost a lot of gas, doesn't it? Holy crap, a lot of Zerglings swimming in. My computer is chugging, and I'm not 100% sure why. I do know why. I'm uploading something in the background of this. That's totally why. But it looks like the third has gone down. This fourth, with its planetary there, will hold, at least for the time being, as the Zerglings elect to engage down into the natural. I think Joce is going to have to tap out. 10 Ultralisks going to be finishing in just a couple of seconds. I think Joce could eventually hold back this force, especially if he got 1 or 2 good Widowmine hits on all those Zerglings, but the second those Ultralisks decide to make their way known, and look at that Congo line on the minimap, look at where my pointer is down the minimap, holy crap, that is intimidating. You don't even have to look at it, that's intimidating. That is absolutely ridiculous. Speaking of ridiculous, this best of 3 was awesome. Again, I don't know if it was from a clan battle. I think if you looked at the messages early on, I saw something making mention to a CW, which is usually clan war, so this probably is out of one. And if it is, that's awesome, because clan battles don't happen quite enough in my taste, and every time they do happen, you see this really interesting meta about all the different things that you can expect from different players. Your team member gives you the heads up that this guy's a cheeser, and just different building strategies because of it. And so I wonder what Todes brings back to the rest of his team about DShark's Joce. I know what I'm bringing back to my team is that this was a great best of 3, and so I really enjoyed it. So special thanks to Todes for sending it in. Hope I gave the best of 3 justice, because they were epic. I know my voice is in tatters, and I have one more game to cast from another guy, so thank you very much for watching it. If you have a game you want me to cast, or series, or clan war, whatever, PM me here or on Reddit. One way or another, I will see you guys later. I am Ibigandscary.